Welcome to Scientific Death.
In the spring of 1982, an operator at an industrial chemical synthesis facility approached a specialized reaction vessel to verify a pressure reading. The vessel was operating at 1800 psi of internal pressure while maintained at a temperature of 180 degrees Celsius. During a previous maintenance cycle, a trace of moisture had entered a secondary seal flange. This moisture initiated a localized chemical degradation of the Hastelloy liner, a corrosion-resistant nickel alloy, protecting the vessel's outer steel shell. The internal pressure eventually sheared through the compromised metal. The structural wall breach released a high-velocity jet of superheated vapor directly across the service deck. This scale shows the chemical inside that vessel, fluorosulfuric acid. It is a superacid millions of times stronger than 100% pure sulfuric acid. The operator was engulfed in a chemical that executes a simultaneous multi-system biological collapse, dismantling the body across 3 distinct vectors. If we pause the timeline of the explosion, as the expanding cloud hits the operator, we can see the first vector, direct contact with skin and structural tissue. This destruction is driven by a mechanism called superacid protonation kinetics. As shown in this molecular model, the acid forces protons on virtually any chemical bond, violently breaking down organic structures and stripping water out of living cells. This extreme chemical dehydration and rapid saponification liquefies the subdermal muscle layers. While the acid melts the tissue, a secondary thermal threat is created through exothermic hydration. When the acid reacted with humidity in the air and moisture on the operator's skin, the reaction caused the cloud's temperature to spike past 400 degrees Celsius. This first vector destroys the body's physical barriers through simultaneous deep tissue liquefaction and full-thickness thermal burns. As the acid attacked the skin, it also transformed the surrounding air into a dense, inescapable toxic aerosol mist. This transformation was caused by high-pressure flash evaporation. As the pressure dropped from 1800 psi to standard atmospheric levels, the superheated liquid flashed into a dense, expanding aerosol mist far above its boiling point. This mist contained a mixture of fluorosulfuric acid, sulfur trioxide, and hydrofluoric acid, or HF. When the operator inhaled this highly toxic mist, the acid stripped the mucosal and epithelial linings of the nasal passages, larynx, and trachea. This destruction causes immediate laryngeal spasms and pulmonary edema, a rapid fluid buildup in the lungs, effectively drowning the operator from the inside out. Beyond the structural and respiratory destruction, the superacid initiates a third vector, blood infiltration. The hydrofluoric acid component in the mist triggers systemic hypocalcemia. Inside the bloodstream, fluoride ions bind aggressively to calcium to form solid salts, rapidly depleting the blood of these minerals. Calcium is the primary conductor for the heart's electrical signals. When stripped away, the electrical pathway stutters and stops, causing violent cardiac arrhythmias. This electrolyte collapse turns a surface exposure into an inescapable systemic failure. Within seconds of the autoclave breach, the tissue liquefaction, airway destruction, and cardiac arrest occurred simultaneously. Biological death followed almost immediately. Standard personal protective equipment is ineffective against this combined physical, thermal, and electrical attack. The 1982 disaster resulted in a complete revision of global chemical engineering regulations. Modern standards, shown in this cross-section, require superacids to be processed in double-walled vessels. The inner liner must be non-reactive tantalum or gold platinum, monitored by electronic leak sensors between the 2 shells. Facilities now use automated high-speed deluge curtains, which deploy sodium bicarbonate misting systems to neutralize acid vapors the moment they are detected. The 1982 failure established a basic engineering requirement. Surviving a high-pressure superacid breach means ensuring no human being is in the room when it occurs. All operations are now monitored remotely from blast-proof control rooms.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a giant thumbs up and hit that big subscribe button. Be sure to turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. See you in the next one.